Well, young lady, and what have you got to say for yourself?
Well, I was...
You come home over an hour late. You pick the lock and then try to sneak in. I am disappointed, Susan. Very disappointed. My girls have never given me this trouble in the past. I've always had every reason to be proud of them, until now.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Beamish.
I should think so. This is a respectable establishment. We do not allow behavior like that here.
Mr. Faulkner, is that you?
What do you want, Latham?
Look, I'm sorry about what I said before. I wasn't thinking. It's just that I need someone. Just for a little while, just to have a chat. I promise I won't...
I told you before, Latham, you're wasting your time.
I just want to talk, honestly. You see, they're going to take my little girl away from me and I can't... Somebody's got to help me! Oh, come back, you bastard! I'll tell them that you laid me!
Well, don't we look good? You out for parole this morning, Bea?
No, but I think she'll probably be having breakfast with the governor.
Oh, come on, knock it off. Can't a girl look her best without getting a hard time from you lot?
Who did it?
I did most of it myself. Dorian gave me a bit of a hand with the back.
That was good. Well, ladies, get a move on. Don't want to miss breakfast, do we?
Are you kidding? Have you tasted it lately?
Come on, hurry it up. Well, hurry up, Latham.
Thanks very much for last night. All I wanted was someone to talk to, didn't I? Anyway, the other offer's still open, so why don't you have a think about it?
There's nothing to think about, Latham.
You don't know what you're knocking back. I could do little things for you, and you could do little things for me. All nice and friendly like.
I don't know what stories you've been hearing in here, but I'm not employed as the prison stud.
Oh, look, I'm sorry, Mr. Faulkner. I don't want to get you into trouble, honest. It's just that I really need help to get to see my little girl, and, well, I'm willing to pay you the only way I can.
You don't need my help for that. Just go and see the governor. She'll help you. Look, I know what you're after, and it's not going to work. First, there'll be a letter or a parcel you want smuggled out, then some dope and grog brought in. The answer's no.
Is that what Sandy Edward wanted, then? I meant what I said. I'll scream my head off that you made me sleep with you.
I think you'd be better off forgetting all about that. You've got quite a reputation in here. No one would believe a word.
Bastard.
Latham, get them on. Your parole's been revoked.
Oh, buggered.
You're still here? You'll miss your bus.
Yeah, well, I went back to sleep.
I'm not surprised. The time you came in last night. Or was it this morning?
Oh, don't you start. Old Beamish has already had a go at me. I don't see why we can't have a key and come and go as we like.
Yeah, that'd be great. But this is a hostel, not a hotel.
Yeah. Well, I can't tell the difference between this and Wentworth.
Oh, it's not that bad. Beamish might act like a jailer sometimes, but she looks after us pretty well. And some of those girls are a real pain. She doesn't mind if you stay out late, as long as you check with her in advance.
Yeah, well, that's freedom.
Saturday night's the best. She doesn't mind if you don't get home till midnight. Oh, cheer up, Cinderella. You'll go to the ball.
Have you got anything on today?
Yeah, I've got a real boring morning of English literature. The inner meaning of Wordsworth and all that garbage. Can't wait till next term when we start on D.H. Lawrence. Classics are okay, but they don't age very well.
Are you going out tonight?
No, I've got 2 assignments to work on. And you better not go out either, or Beamish will really be down on you.
I'm supposed to be free now. I'll come and go when I like.
Okay, but do yourself a favour. Get permission first, eh?
Yeah, okay. Oh, hell, I'm going to be late.
Yeah, has anyone seen Judy Bryant?
Yeah, she just went... Ah, there she is, right behind you, Mrs. M.
Judy, where have you been? I've been looking everywhere for you. And you haven't even changed. Now, I've left clothes for you in your cell.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Mrs. Morris. I got a bad case of nerves, you know. I just thought I'd work in here for a while till it was time to go. Is it time to go?
Yes, now, come on.
How do you think she'll go, Mrs. M?
Well, I've spoken to the detective involved, and he's right behind her appeal. I wouldn't be surprised if she got nothing more than a lecture from the magistrate.
Well, I better go. I got a lecture to attend. Oh.
and she's got Buckley's.
Oh, you're a cheerful little bugger, aren't you?
Bloody parole boards and the courts, they're all the same. I've seen it all before. The coppers get bloody minded when they get in them courts. They don't want the judge to think they've made a mistake.
Nathan, outside.
What did I do?
Just get outside. Get on with it. You were talking alone with Steve Faulkner this morning. What was that all about?
Oh, that? Oh, I was just asking him how I go about getting a visit from my little girl, that's all.
Oh, you surprise me, Latham. I would have thought you could have lied more convincingly than that.
That's the truth, Mrs. Powell.
It didn't look like it to me. Why did he say no one would believe you?
He never. Well, he did, but...
Listen, Latham. By the time the police check up on your frauds and you finally get to court, you could be in here for some months. Now, a charge of blackmail, that's going to add extra time.
But I haven't done nothing. I wasn't blackmailing him. I was just asking him to help me, that's all. I was mouthing off. Oh, I wasn't going to say anything anyway.
Anything about what?
About me and...
Has he been making advances towards you?
No.
Listen, I want to know, Latham. If he is giving you any trouble, there's nothing I can do about it unless you help. Come on. All you're going to have to do is make a formal statement and lodge a complaint against it. We'll take it from there. For God's sakes, Latham. A corrupt officer is no good to anyone, you or me. Now, I'm sure you would have blinked once before you gave in to him. I want to know what happened.
I've told you nothing happened.
And I told you I don't believe you. However, if you do tell me the truth, I'll drop the blackmail charge.
Well, what happened to me if you do tell?
You'll make an official complaint, that's all. There'll be an inquiry, you will be questioned, but there's no need to worry about reprisal.
I haven't got much option, really, have I?
What was that all about?
Oh, nothing. Just old hoe-face pushing her weight around as usual.
About what?
She saw me and Steve Faulkner having a chat this morning and she's barking up the wrong tree.
Well, I'd hate you to think I was eavesdropping, but I heard the word blackmail.
Yeah, that's the wrong tree she's barking up.
And you set her straight?
Yeah, of course I did.
I hope so. Faulkner may be a bit of a dill, but he's done us quite a few favours in the past. And anyone who gets him into strife has me to deal with.
Mr. Faulkner?
Oh, excuse me. Yes, Mrs. Powell.
What were you and Chrissy Latham talking about this morning?
She wanted me to help her get her daughter in for a visit. I told her to go and see the governor.
Well, why should she ask you in particular to help?
Beats me.
It wasn't in return for some sort of favour, I don't suppose.
What sort of favour?
Well, like, talking about you going to a cell last night?
What a load of crap.
No. I don't think so, not in your past reputation. Latham's made an official complaint. The governor would like to see you before you leave the prison.
And she is prepared to make an official complaint.
Yes?
Well, Mr. Faulkner?
Well, what? There's no point in me saying anything. You've obviously made up your minds already.
That is not the case at all. But we must protect the women. If they make a complaint about an officer, which is their right, then we must investigate that officer.
And that's what's going to happen to me.
Well, I have no alternative if I'm not satisfied with your explanation.
All right, for what it's worth, I hereby deny the charge.
Mrs. Powell, did Latham's claim seem genuine to you?
Well, yes, of course. Otherwise, I wouldn't have reported it.
Well, knowing Latham, I could believe she would encourage the situation. But I cannot allow the suspicion that you took advantage of it. I'm afraid I will have to suspend you from duty pending an inquiry.
May I go now?
Yes. Mr. Faulkner, I am just as upset about this as you are.
but we must follow departmental procedure.
Hey, how's it going?
Hi, you're just in time for the lunchtime rush.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. One of the advantages of the afternoon shift, get to sleep in late.
Yeah, and you're lucky. I slept right through the alarm this morning.
Still, it was a great night though, wasn't it?
Yeah, I loved it.
How'd you go with the old bit in the hostel?
She caught me picking the lock trying to get in. She ripped strips off me.
Did you get that much strife?
Yeah, a bit. Oh, it doesn't matter.
Sorry, Susie.
Oh, forget it. One thing I've learned is not to let the heavies get you down. There's always someone around who'll try and stomp on you.
Hey, listen, you want to come out tonight? I mean, as well as Saturday night?
Yeah, why not?
I thought you chicks were supposed to play hard to get.
Well, I take it you finished your shift.
Thanks to bloody Chrissy Latham, I've probably finished for good.
What do you mean?
She's come up with some cock and bull story that I knocked her off in the middle of the night. And my dear friend Mrs. Powell believes it.
You're kidding.
I wish I was. Powell's been gunning at me ever since the gossip about Sandy Edwards.
Sandy Edwards? She's not in here, is she?
Not anymore. She disappeared. She's never been found. Anyway, Powell believes that I helped her to escape so she wouldn't talk about what was going on.
Oh, it's the trouble with these women. They can't keep their mouths shut.
I didn't say anything was going on.
Who cares? I don't.
Well, Powell does, for one. I'm sure she works for the Festival of Light in her spare time. Glad you think it's funny.
Oh, come on. You've got nothing to worry about. I'd believe anything of that tricky Chrissy. She's a real little tease, that one.
Anyway, the governor believes it enough to suspend me, which suits me fine. I've had enough of this place.
Listen, don't worry. I'll fix it up for you.
Yeah, I'll see you around.
Chrissy? Chrissy, the grapevine reckons that Mr. Faulkner's been suspended.
Yeah?
Well, why would the governor do that, do you reckon?
How would I know?
Oh, come on, I know you know something about it and I want to know what it is. I warned you if you got him into strife...
I didn't get him into strife. He got himself into it and Powell was right onto it.
What for?
He raped me last night.
Rape you? That'd be like forcing Lizzie to take a drink.
Well, he put the hard word on me. What was I supposed to do then?
Oh, you're lying. He's not that stupid. He damn nearly got the big A when he and Sandy were on together.
It's true.
What are you two doing out here?
Just going to the loo, Mrs. Powell?
Not together, you're not.
Well, she's going, I'm coming.
Come on, Latham. You've got to give a formal statement.
I've already told you what happened.
Don't argue. Go on, Smith. Get back to the laundry.
Thanks. Well, I can't believe that. All those butterflies and the whole thing was over in less than an hour.
I told you it was only a formality.
Yeah, at least the cops were decent enough to admit they'd made a mistake. Not that that helps me much. No way I'm going to get my taxi license back after admitting I roughed up a fare.
Well, there are other jobs, Judy.
Yeah, but I haven't got one of them, have I? And the parole board isn't likely to let me go without some sort of job, are they?
See, the board's meeting tomorrow. I'll have a word with them then.
Yeah, I'll just have to keep my fingers crossed, I guess.
Come in.
Could I see you for a moment, please, Governor?
Yes, of course. I'm afraid I haven't had much chance to talk to you recently. How are you settling in, Miss
Oh,
Ferguson?
fine, thanks. No worries at all. Except for this business with Mr. Faulkner and Latham.
Oh, you've heard.
Yes, I overheard the women talking about it in the corridor.
Never ceases to amaze me how quickly gossip spreads in here. A matter like that makes it more difficult to maintain discipline.
With all due respect, Governor, the suspending of an officer just on the say-so of a prisoner doesn't do much for our authority either.
I appreciate that. But Latham has lodged a complaint, and I can't just ignore it.
Of course, but this Latham woman doesn't seem exactly trustworthy. Well, it says in her file that she stabbed the prison psychologist because he knocked her back, and then she mysteriously got pregnant in Barnhurst. Well, the other women don't believe her, and they should know her very well. Could it be that she made this up to get back at Mr. Faulkner for rejecting her?
Well, of course it's possible. And I hope that is what the investigation will reveal.
I could very well be in this same position, Governor. I knocked her back when she tried it on with me.
Yes, well, I can appreciate your concern for Mr. Faulkner, but we must follow official procedure on this.
Yes. Has the complaint been lodged with the department?
No, I'm just compiling the report now.
I can save you wasting your time, Governor. I know Mr. Faulkner didn't do it.
Oh?
We were both on the night shift, and I was with him the whole time.
I must say, Mrs. Powell, I was a little surprised that Miss Ferguson hadn't been questioned about this earlier. I hadn't realised she and Mr. Faulkner were on the same shift.
Yes, I know. I'm sorry that was an oversight. But as I said, Latham seemed to be telling the truth.
Well, Chrissy can be very convincing when she wants to be. But I couldn't believe that of Steve.
There have been rumours before.
But no proof.
I still have my doubts that two officers can stay in sight of each other for the whole night.
Well, it doesn't surprise me at all. Miss Ferguson is new here and wouldn't know her way about, would she?
I suppose not.
And we must remember that Mr. Faulkner is the only male officer on staff and is a prime target for this sort of blackmail. Anyway, I've cancelled the inquiry and Mr. Faulkner's suspension. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to reach him by phone to notify him.
And what about Latham?
Well, surely the most important thing is to let Steve know he's in the clear. I'm off duty now. I'll call round and give him a message if you like.
Thank you, Mrs. Morris. Of course, we won't let Latham get away with it. Leave her in solitary to think about it for a while.
That'll be a pleasure.
Yeah, well, the judge didn't exactly give me a pat on the back, but after the police had their say, he was really beaut.
That's terrific, Judy. They'll have to give you your parole now.
I hope so.
Well, if they don't, I'll get my poison pen to work again. I need something like that for the dispatch. They're obviously not interested in chatty pieces about life in prison.
Well, you could always do an article on the seduction of prison officers.
Oh, that one's a troublemaker and always was.
OK, Latham. You are going to learn not to waste my time with lies. Get outside.
What have I done? I've told you the truth.
Miss Ferguson was with Mr. Faulkner for the whole night and can vouch that he was nowhere near you. Get out.
Oh, it's bloody typical. That is. All you screws all stick together, don't you? I've told you he was on his own. Is that how you handle an official complaint, then?
No need for the rest of you women to stop work.
That silly bitch. Can't even lie properly.
Steve?
G'day, Meg. What brings you to this neck of the woods?
Message from Mrs. Davidson. I thought you might be asleep.
I was too damned angry to sleep. Come on up. That's the buzz from our beloved leader.
The suspension's been lifted. You can return to work tomorrow.
Great. What happened? Latham decided to tell the truth.
No. Joan Ferguson simply said she'd been with you all night. I don't know why you didn't tell Mrs. Davidson that in the first place.
Oh, I just didn't want to involve Joan, that's all. Besides, I was so bloody mad, I couldn't think straight.
Mr. Walton to see you, Governor.
Oh, good afternoon, Mr. Walton. Are you after a press statement, or is this a social visit?
Well, no, I'm not a reporter, Mrs. Davidson. Actually, I'm here about one of your inmates, B. Smith.
Oh?
Yes, well, as you know, the Dispatch has published a couple of articles she's written, and the owners are keen to continue the social reform theme. Now, that report on Susie Driscoll really grabbed the public.
Yes, she became quite a celebrity. Well, what is your intention? Do you want to bring a reporter in here to interview some of the women?
Well, no, not exactly. Did you read Smith's last article?
Yes, I read it before I sent it to you. I thought it was very good, but she didn't seem very pleased with it.
Well, that surprises me. Anyway, we're going to publish it next week. Has she had any formal training in journalism or writing?
No, she's been here for the last 11 years or so. I'm afraid our educational facilities leave a lot to be desired.
It's amazing. Must be a natural talent. Look, I'll come to the point, Mrs. Davison. We'd like to offer Mrs. Smith a regular column in our paper. Now, naturally, we'd like to get your reaction to the idea first.
Well, I think it could be just what Smith needs.
Naturally, you'll be paid normal rates. Now, you will have to join the union. We'll have to come to some arrangement about that.
Yeah.
I've already told Mr. Walton that I'm prepared to let you do it. It's an excellent opportunity. Who knows where it will lead?
What about censorship?
Well, as you know, we've had a lot of trouble with the department in the past, but I've cleared this. There'll be no censorship here, and I'm sure you'll act responsibly.
Yeah, of course.
Naturally, your articles will be subject to editing like everything else.
Well, that's all right. But what sort of stuff do you want? Like the Susie Driscoll story?
Well, anything you like. Well, it'd be great to have a terrific expose like the Harry Stanfield case, but we can't expect that every week. No, this is something entirely new. It's never been tried before. Now, other papers have housewives doing mundane articles about their kids and so on. Well, fair enough. Some women relate to that. But we want life from the viewpoint of a woman in an entirely different situation.
Well, that's me.
It certainly is. What do you think? Can you do it?
Yeah, all right.
Good. I'm sure it's a decision you won't regret, Bea.
Well, for once, Mrs. Davidson, I think I agree with you.
Hey, you were away a long time. What's it all about?
They just needed my services, that's all.
Don't tell me. They've asked you to fill that cabinet vacancy.
No, just a regular column in the Dispatch.
Isn't that amazing? You know what? They've asked me to pose for the centerfold.
But I'm not joking.
You're not, are you?
500 to 1,000 words on life in Wentworth, and they're going to pay me real cash money for it.
Hey, I don't know what to say.
Well, you better think of something, because I'm going to be picking everyone's brains from now on for ideas.
Well, I think it's terrific. Good on you. What are you going to write about?
Oh, I don't know yet. I thought I might do a sort of behind-the-scenes look at people behind the crimes. You know, the women who've been involved in big jobs. That'll grab them, do a bit of background on them, who they are, why they did it, that sort of thing.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, who are you going to start with?
I don't know yet, but I'll think of someone.
Miss Simpson, you don't seem to realise the serious position you're in. The courts no longer treat armed robbery with leniency. You could get a very long sentence.
I've got nothing to say. That money was mine.
Well, morally, perhaps, but legally, it was the property of your late father's company. You know? We can't enter the skeleton in your family's cupboard as a defence. Now, one advantage is that you've been as talkative with the police as you have with me. Even so, they seem to have a good enough case to get a conviction. I take it you still intend to plead not guilty.
Yeah, of course I do.
Then please, give me something to work on. I'm a solicitor, not a magician.
Look, you know the story. You tell it to the judge. That's what you're getting paid for. I want to go back now.
Well, that's obviously the end of that. I'll see you in court tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe.
Excuse me? Oh, Mrs. Morris. Is Steve around? Sure.
Steve!
You got a visitor.
G'day, Wendy.
Hi. I've come to see the boat. Don't tell me you've forgotten.
Of course not.
Well, don't mind me. I should have gone ages ago.
Don't be silly. Stay for another cup of tea.
I heard about what happened at work today. I couldn't believe it. Chrissy must be mad saying things like that.
Well, the worst thing is too many people believe it.
Yes, well, as long as you don't start believing it yourself.
You look terrific.
Oh, well, thanks. I didn't know if we were going out or not, so I wore this.
Oh, you'd fit in anywhere looking like that. Could you do me a huge favour? Go and put the kettle on while I get changed.
Yeah, well,
Not for me, thank you very much. I've got to get out of these overalls and go home.
Okay. Well, where are we going to go tonight?
oh, well, it's up to you. You're the captain.
Patterson, has there been anything missing from any of the cells lately?
No, looks like a little Peter thief has gone to Earth for a while. Good thing, too, because if I get my hands on the
Oh,
bitch...
come on, it's going to be damn hard to find out who it is.
Oh, don't you worry, I'll find out who it is. A pinch from the screws, that's fine. But not from each other.
Hey, Doreen, they let you out, huh?
Hey, get down.
Yeah, I'll be back in a minute. Sorry, Faye, about the bloody bank, but old Ferguson just snuck up on me.
Oh, it's all right, Dor. These things happen.
I'm going.
Hey, listen, Dor. I've started up the book again. You can help if you wanna.
Oh, thanks.
Say, what's with Faye? I thought she'd be real mad at me, for losing that money.
No, I should have kept in good with. I told the girls to lay off her when she couldn't pay out.
Geez, it's good to be eating warm food again. By the time they get to the pound, it's freezing.
Food? Is that what this is?
Anything interesting happen?
Oh, no. Nothing much, eh, Ju?
No, I can't think of anything been happening. Oh, hang on. Something happened this morning, didn't it?
Was that after you went to court and won your appeal?
What? It was around the time that you got that column in the Dispatch.
Hey?
Oh, yeah, I know what it was. We opened a new box of soap powder.
That's it? Oh, my God, we haven't had so much fun in ages.
Stop buggerising around, you two, and tell me what's really been happening.
No.
Come in. Ah, it's you, Susan.
You've moved your desk.
Yes, that's right. What can I do to help you?
Well, Amanda explained to me about you having to look after the other girls. And I just wanted to say I was sorry about the other night. I didn't realise it would cause so much worry.
Well, I'm glad you've got the backbone to come and apologise.
Would it be all right if I went out again tonight?
Really, Susan, you are the limit. Not only do you stay out until the small hours, but you come back and put on a disgusting show on the doorstep with some young man you hardly know. You really expect me to give you permission to do it again?
I said I was sorry about that, Mrs. Beamish. It's just one of the girls at work is having a birthday party, and I'd really like to go. It'd give me a chance to get to know the other girls.
Well, all right. But you must be back at the proper time, 11 o'clock. Now, that really is quite late enough on a weeknight when you have to go to work tomorrow.
Thank you, Mrs. Beamish.
Right. And Susan, I do mean 11 o'clock.
Bugger.
Why aren't you in the rec room, Simpson?
Because I prefer my own company.
I can understand that. Sometimes I like to be alone. But then there are times when it's quite nice to have someone else around.
What are you doing, and why did you close the door?
Because I think you and I should be friends, Hannah. We're going to be seeing a lot of each other.
Well, you can forget it. I'm not interested.
But you will be. We'll come to an understanding, you and I.
Don't you dare, unless you want the governor to hear about this.
That won't do you any good. Latham's already in the pound for trying to say she was raped by an officer. Think of the extra charges you'd collect. I don't think the judge would be very impressed at all. Pity I'm off duty right now. We'd start getting to know each other right away. Oh, but there'll be other times. After your trial tomorrow, there'll be plenty of other times. And believe me, Hannah, we're gonna be very good friends.
Boy, keep it down, you lot. You'll never be
screwing creation in here in a minute.
Sorry, babe.
Oh, beauty. What are the odds on Sammy Boy in race 5?
10's in the paper, Lizzie, but there's still a 5-to-1 limit on all bets.
5 to 1?
Yeah.
Well, you know what you can do with that.
Hey, I thought you'd been shanghaied to the kitchen permanently.
Oh, bloody old O'Regan got us fit of the spring cleans and roped us all in. What's this I hear about Faulkner getting the push?
Bloody Chrissy told the governor that he tried to get her in the cot.
She what? The rotten bitch. He might be a screw, but he's not a real bad bloke.
Well, it's all right, Lizzie, because it was lucky for him Ferguson was there. She told the truth and got him off the hook.
Yeah, she really put her foot in it this time.
What do you mean?
Oh, she went off half-cocked as usual. Told Davo he was in the cell with her when he was with Ferguson all night. They've thrown Chrissy in the pound.
Well, it was lucky for him that Ferguson was there, otherwise he would have really been up the creek.
She's right. What? Well, I had a real bad headache last night, so I asked old Faulkner for some of me pills, and we were chatting for quite a while. And he was on his Pat Malone.
Are you sure it's just that you didn't see Ferguson?
Of course I'm sure. She wasn't there. And anyway, there were only one set of footsteps.
Oh, is that a fact? Is that a bloody fact?
She's bloody bent, I tell you. With me, she grabbed the money off me and I didn't realise what she was doing till we got to the office. And then she hands over a few lousy bucks to Davo and keeps the rest herself.
How much?
Well, there was 500, right, Faye?
Yeah.
She gave 95 to Davo, so work it out for yourself.
Oh, she's a bitch.
And now she's lying to protect Steve Faulkner.
Yeah, that's if he did it.
If he didn't, they're going to a lot of trouble to cover it up.
Well, it'd be just like Chrissy to lead him on and then dob him in afterwards.
He didn't exactly have a conscience about it when Sandy was giving it away.
Oh, I'm disappointed in him. Bloody screws. Trust them to stick together.
Yeah, and then stick Chrissy in the pound as though it's her fault.
What are you going to do about it, Bea?
What the bloody hell can I do?
Well, we can't let him get away with it.
No, we're not going to jump in boots first. I want to find a few facts out about Miss Joan Ferguson.
Listen, you fancy a copy of Alouetta's?
Oh, I'd better not.
Oh, it's a pity. There's a guy that plays some terrific blues stuff and piano. When mates change some records.
Yeah. Oh, if it wasn't for that bloody Gestapo woman, if I'm not back by 11 o'clock, she'll lock me up in my room for the next 6 months.
Look, it's all right. We'll make it another night, OK? I'll give you the phone. Come on.
Oh, bugger it. Well, why shouldn't I go? Well, she just gets her kicks out of putting people down. Come on.
I don't know. I got you in enough strife last night. I'm not going to do it again.
I tell you what I'll do. I'll go back and I'll make sure she sees me, and then I'll sneak out the window.
You kidding?
I've got out of tougher places than that before.
I don't know.
Well, are you going to take me there or not?
Okay.
You amaze me. I wouldn't have thought you could cook. Well, not that well, anyway.
How'd you think I was going to survive on my world cruise?
I don't know. Probably pick up some lady to be first mate.
No, that's not a bad idea. Anyone particular in mind?
Oh, how about Meg Morris?
Oh, no. Strictly landlubber material, she is.
Oh, she looked perfectly at home this afternoon.
Meg could be at home anyway. She's that type of woman.
You get on well with her, don't you?
If I didn't know you any better, I'd say you're a little bit jealous. You make me feel like we're married or something.
That's something you'd really shy away from, isn't it?
Not really. When the time comes, I'll settle down and get married. Can't spend the rest of my life happy, can I?
But what about work? Are you always going to be a prison officer?
Oh, you're kidding. No, I'll stick at it a couple more years. And the boat'll be all mine. You won't see my heels for dust. Oh, seawater.
But how are you going to make a living?
Fishing? Pleasure cruises? Maybe a bit of smuggling?
You wouldn't.
Maybe. Maybe not.
Thanks for this evening. It's been great.
Even though we didn't go out?
Especially although I feel a bit overdressed for a quiet evening at home.
Oh, I don't know. I don't really see that as a problem.
Well, should I walk you to the door?
Oh, you better not. It'd be just like old Beamish to be looking out the window. And I told her I was going to a girlfriend's party. Well, I won't be long.
Susan, it was you. I was just about to lock up. Did you enjoy the party?
Hello, Mrs. Beamish. Yeah, the party was great fun, and we had a lovely time.
Was that a young man who drove you home?
Oh, yeah, Samantha's brother. He's studying to be a doctor.
Why is he still parked out there?
Oh, he had a bit of trouble with his car. He had to let the engine cool down for a while. Well, I'm a bit tired. I better go to bed. Good night.
Good night. And just where do you think you're going? Ah, Susan, come in. I've asked Mrs. Morris to talk to you, as I don't seem to be able to get through to you at all. Now, it was very good of her to take the time to come out here this morning.
Yeah. Thanks, Mrs. Morris.
Sit down, Susan.
I hear you tried to sneak out last night without permission.
I'm afraid so. I'm sorry, but I don't see why I have to be confined to my room in my spare time.
But you don't, Susan. There are plenty of girls your own age here to mix with.
And most of them are studying or sewing dresses or making something. And they're boring.
You have made no attempt to get to know them.
Susie, you must realise that you've got to learn to accept things the way they are until your situation gets better. Now, I know you'd like to go out into a flat or something, but you just can't afford it on your wages. Mrs. Beamish has been kind enough to offer you a home when lots of others wouldn't have even thought about it. Now, you must follow house rules. It's a question of give and take.
I'm not a kid anymore, Mrs. Morris. I'm old enough to make up my own mind. And this place is as bad as Wentworth. You can't do that and don't do this.
How can you say that?
I'm sure Susie didn't mean it the way it sounded, Mrs. Beamish. She's been subjected to fairly harsh discipline most of her life. I'm sure it's only a reaction to that.
There is such a thing as responsibility.
Susie, there's something I want you to remember. Now, you're still on parole for a couple of more weeks yet. And until that expires, you have to comply with the conditions of your licence. And one of those conditions is that you live here in the hostel. If Mrs. Beamish has to ask you to leave, you could find yourself back in Wentworth.
I'm sorry.
Now, you know where I am. If you ever need anything, you just give me a ring.
Yeah, okay.
I appreciate you asking me here today, Mrs. Beamish. This is Susie's first taste of independence. I'm sure she'll settle down.
I do hope you're right, Mrs. Morris. I really can't allow this kind of behaviour in the hostel.
I know. Thank you for your patience.
Mrs. Morris, is there any chance of me coming to visit Lizzie or Bea?
Now, I don't think that's a good idea, Susie. You know it's against the rules. Well, I'll have a word with Mrs. Davidson.
Good morning, Wendy.
Oh, hi.
You do anything interesting last night?
Oh, no, just a boring night in front of the TV.
Oh. Better luck next time. Morning, Joe. You got a moment?
Look, if it's about yesterday, forget it. I told you I'd see you right. Besides, I haven't got a moment. I'm riding shotgun on Simpson's court appearance.
No police escort?
No. They phoned earlier. All their extra manpower's gone into the city to some big demonstration or something. Civil rights for gay bikies or something. Meg and I have landed the job. Righto, Simpson. Wait over there. Thank you, Mrs. Barfield.
Oh, sorry I'm late. Have I kept you waiting?
I don't think she's in any hurry.
Have you done the requisition for the armoury?
What for?
You're entitled to take a gun.
Oh, I think I can handle Simpson without a gun.
Yes, I'd rather not. There'll be police at courthouse.
Please yourself. I'll see you later on and have fun.
Thanks. Got a pack of cards? Here's the transfer. You going to drive or am I?
What do you got there, Smith?
Paper from the storeroom, Mr. Faulkner. Sir, we need it for the application forms. Sir.
Mine's the same, sir.
That's enough. All right, take it through. Now, what's all this about?
You don't need me to tell you that.
If you're talking about Latham's little game yesterday, that was all sorted out.
Oh, was it?
If it wasn't, I wouldn't be here. I take it you know I was suspended thanks to her lies.
I also know you got off the hook thanks to another lie.
Now, hang on. I didn't lie.
Oh, I know you didn't. I thought you were a decent bloke for a screw. And knowing what Chrissy's like, I thought, well, fair enough. If she's offering it, why shouldn't you take it? Well, what beats me is you're not man enough to stand up and face the music. You squirm out of it and let Chrissy get slung on the pound. Well, I always say it takes two to tango, and you are the only one left on the dance floor.
Great. Well, as it happens, no one's really interested in what you've got to say.
Oh, aren't they? Well, we'll see. Because I can prove you were alone and that you had plenty of time to visit Chrissy.
I've instructed counsel to apply for a postponement to prepare a defence. He'll claim a missing witness. I don't think we'll get it. Holsworthy's a crusty old sod at the best of times. Now, look, for Pete's sake, don't start claiming the stolen money was rightfully yours. I can understand how gratifying it may have been for you to see your father's company robbed, but the jury won't. You might just as well plead guilty.
Yeah, fine, okay.
How's it going?
I think the judge has got a hangover. And the jury are demonstrating in the city square. God, I hate court duty.
Could be a long day. Any idea for how long before they start?
Oh, they've got to get the jury in yet. That'll take about 20 minutes.
I'll take the first turn. You go out and get yourself a cup of coffee.
Oh, you sure?
Yes, you can take over after lunch.
Fair enough.
Miss Simpson, can you give me the name of anyone who might be able to verify where you were that afternoon? It's our only chance to gain a postponement.
No, I don't know anyone. I was on my own.
Look out!
Don't make a sudden move or sound.
Let go!
Well, you didn't have to do that.
Shut up! You want to get out of here, don't you?
Come on, fella. Don't be bloody stupid. You'll never get out of here.
We'll get out, just so long as no one tries to be a hero.
That's right, get going.
If anyone tries to stop us, this lady will be copping a bullet.
He used to give me roses. I wish he could again. But that was on the outside. and things were different then. On the inside, the sun still shines, and the rain falls down. But the sun and rain are prisoners too when morning comes around. Last night I dreamed we were together, sharing all the love we'd known, till I had to face the nightmare of waking up alone. On the inside, the roses grow. They don't mind the stony ground, but the roses